computer, so I might lose it.
All right, ladies. Now, do we have audio?
Can you hear us? Oh, hey, Sunday husband.
Can you hear us?
Yes, good.
There we go. All right. Good.
Okay. I tell you what, it's been one thing after another. I want to tell you just in case. This computer has been acting up, and if it just shuts off, I am sorry. It keeps saying it doesn't want to charge. The battery doesn't. And so I'm getting a wee bit concerned. And so if I disappear, I'm sorry. I'll try to fix the problem and come back. But I'm hoping I've got it plugged in good now. Gosh, I hope. So I'm going to tell you the important stuff first, just in case. But I'm sorry I couldn't get here earlier. It has been... Pat is here too. This is wonderful. And Hope Shepherd. So good to see you, Hope. And so what about the rest of the week? Well, Wednesday, you know I'm going to teach a class coming up in July 21st through the 25th, and it's free to everyone. And Wednesday, I'm thinking of having a cutting out party. And I'm thinking maybe to make it about 2 in the afternoon. And that's New York time, so Eastern Daylight Time. And so that I can help people get started on cutting the fabric for the pattern. I've been working on the pattern. The pattern that everyone voted on is called Snail's Trail Al Fresco. Yeah, the Sunday Spouse. Oh, I like that, Marcia. You're quick on those rhyming. I like that. And before y'all came on, because I was right here, I, in fact, tried to turn it on at 3 minutes to 7, but I didn't have the right go live button pushed. And then the sound was a mess. But anyway, but I just wanted to show you, I keep working on this, getting more and more cut, more and more sewn on. And this is, where I put the picture of one of the Mobius quilts on the placeholder. Boy, a lot of people checked out that show. So I want to show you, here is the other curved piece that I'm going to need to sew. And then I have a square piece with a circle cut out, and then this circle will have to be of white fabric, and I'll have a big square with this circle cut out that then I sew the 2 swirls on. And this pattern, I wanted to tell you, it's the Mobius Radial Quilt, and it was by Audrey Essery. And let me show you Mobius Radial Quilt, a quilt pattern by Audrey Essery. Now, the reason I'm telling you that is she has a wonderful online shop called Cotton and Bourbon, because she lives in Kentucky. And if you go to Cotton and Bourbon, you can get that quilt pattern too. And if I can answer any questions, she seems to be very approachable. So maybe you could even ask some questions of her. But I'm hoping I'll have some time this week to get it done so I can show you. So, let me see. Hopefully the battery... Oops, let me see if it's still hanging in there. Come on, battery. I'm wondering now if my big battery has gone bad. And if that's the case, I'm going to have to hurry up and buy a new one. Because every time I plug it in, it says that the battery's not doing too well, or all of a sudden seems so charged up. I don't know. Anyway, so let me tell you first, before I go into our wonderful mosaic. Wait till you see how much I got done. That mosaic quilt is addictive, let me tell you. Oh, and I'm sorry I couldn't do the show earlier. We've had a busy couple weeks here with doctor's appointments and procedures done, and Mark's getting ready for a regular test coming tomorrow, and just normal stuff, you know, nothing bad. But then we've redecorated 2 of the rooms in the house, and my daughter did a wonderful job painting them. But taking stuff out and putting stuff back in, having to order some new things, it's been stressful. So it just wasn't a good time today when I was supposed to be getting ready for the show. And I don't know about y'all, but whatever's going on in my life tends to show on my face. I'm not really good at hiding how I feel about things. So, okay, but now I want to get... hopefully you can still see me. I worked really hard this week on trying to figure out how to teach you to put this quilt together. This pattern was written based on your having 2 specialty rulers. And here is one of them right here. That's a $27 ruler. And then the other, it might be too little for you to see it good. But see that square ruler right there? Creative Grids, square on square, which is a $32 ruler. And right now, I tell you, with the prices on food, Mark just got back from the grocery store the other day, and I was looking at the receipt. I'm shocked at the prices right now. We've been really hoping they would keep coming down, but oh, you sweetheart, Miss Hope. So I thought these rulers together are $60 worth of rulers. So I thought, I really don't want them to spend $60 on rulers, because if you're like me and you're on a fixed budget and the prices of food have gone up and gas went back up, everything. So what I did is I looked at the pattern very clearly and said, how can I make this pattern a different way? Because, you know, in the old days, people like me, we didn't have specialty rulers. We didn't even have rotary cutters. We had templates. We used to cut templates out of cardboard and then cut each piece of fabric out with scissors by hand. And I'm kind of dating myself. And but hey, that's the way it was. So what I did is I pulled up my... Oh, it is awful right now. It sure is. And so I pulled up my EQ8. And I am not a real wizard. I'm not a real wizard at EQ8. But I know how to do the things I really want to do on it. So I went into the program and I said, okay, I found the specific block, snail trail, square and a square, elongated diamond. I went into it, found those blocks, made them the size that they're supposed to be, and then said, okay, I want to see how to make them as a foundation piece, which will be paper piece for us. And then I said, okay, I now want to make them so that they could be template pieced. Give people, and if it did for me, it printed out the template. Then I said, I want it to be a rotary cutter. So that way you know what size to cut each piece for the pattern. I spent a good number of hours, but guess what? It worked. So I'm going to switch to the pictures and show you what I've done. So if you're wanting to do this pattern, you don't have to buy expensive rulers because I've done the figuring out for you. And I am thrilled. This pattern was designed by Jean Ann Wright, and thank you, Jean Ann. It's a beauty. And it's this basic pattern's been around a while. It's like got parts of Storm at Sea and the Snail's Trail. But her putting it together, she did a beautiful job. So now what I'm going to do is let me bring up and show you what I have done. And because I thought I've got to figure out something because I know how expensive. Whoops, let me go over here. Okay, so now I broke it up. Let me move this over. I broke this up. Let me get, okay. Now grab it. Bring it over. Come on, let me grab it. Oh, no. Okay. Now, I'm going to grab this file. Okay, here we go. I've got it now. I'm getting much better at this. Okay. Now, let me see if I can make this pretty much full size here. Move it. Oh, I don't know if I can. Whoop, there I go. And move it over. Okay. This is the center Snail's Trail block. It's going to finish at 8 inches, which means it should be 8.5 inches when you finish making this block. People get confused about finished sizes versus actual size. And all that means is once this is sewn into the quilt, it'll only be 8 inches because there's a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance on each side. So here is, whoops, I'm sorry. I was going to show you, see the 1/4 inch seam allowance? So when this is fully printed out, it'll be 8.5 inches. But now, to make it a snail's trail, this center is going to be a 4 patch. Okay? Now to make it work for paper piece, you have to pre-make the 4 patches. Have those already made. Then you will, because you're going to put, that's why it has A1 here for, and it includes all 4 pieces. So this has to be made, iron it beautifully flat, and then, and it'll tell you you have to, the pattern said cut 2-inch pieces, sew them all together, and then trim down to 2.5-inch square. Sorry about that. It weighs a little bit, but otherwise you'd be dealing with 1/8 and 1/16 and all of that. So you make up your make up all of the 4 patches, and you'll turn them based on which of the snail's trails you're going to make, because the blocks are going to turn. So we'll talk about that. You'll have to have some mirror imaging, so because the blocks, every other block in the row, twist a different way. So no worries, we'll get it figured out. Don't worry. So this will act as one piece of fabric in the middle. Then all you have to do is, you see here, here's A2. So you sew this triangle on this side, then sew this triangle A3 over here, then sew A4, then A5, and do the same thing with the rest of these rows. And it's really that simple, okay? So now let me show you another one, because I just, and to print this block, since it finishes at 8 inches, you'll have to use 2 pieces of paper so that you can get that corner done. Or else, if you can figure out, you can probably figure out how to take a scrap piece of paper and tape it into this corner. All right, just depends on if you're as frugal as I am. All right, now, let's see. Then, let's say, okay, I'm going to come back to some more paper piecing, but right beside it here is the template piecing. Okay, let's say you hate paper piecing and you think there's got to be a better way. Well, I took care of that too. And here is that same snail's trail block. And what makes it a snail's trail is where you put background and where you put your pattern fabric. So here are all of these templates that you need to make that work. Okay? And I'm going to double check each of my patterns again, and then I will let you know on our groups IO how many of what you need. Now, if you're doing templates, you can make all, I believe they are, was it 16 blocks? Yes. You can make all 16 blocks from one set of templates, especially if you take and cut these out and glue them onto cardboard or put them onto a plastic template material. All right, so now we're going to go to and I even wrote up some instructions since the pattern itself, let me see if I can get this. Okay, I have written up some pre-cutting instructions since the instructions on the pattern you buy are for using those rulers. And if you have those rulers and want to use them, that's fine too. Now, let's see. Okay, here is the snails. Oop, let me close. Oh, I didn't even show you that. I forgot to bring it over. Oh, sorry. Let's bring it over. Come on, Deb. I know I can do this. Whoops. It went down. Let me show you the instructions again. I forget that I have to anchor it, so I'm going to, come on. All right, let me bring it back and anchor it. I apologize about that. Huh. Is it giving me... It partly made it. Yay. Okay, come on. Come on. Come on over here. It's giving me a little bit of a hard time. Let's see. Oh, okay. I wasn't grabbing it in the right place. So here I have, and you don't have to belong to our groups IO. You can send me an email at our time to quilt at gmail.com. So you can, if you don't belong to our groups IO and like to join, that's free, great. Otherwise, you can just send me in Arizona. Hi, Marcia, hon. Oh, that's good. Oh, good, Marcia. And so here are the instructions. And anything we do on Jitsi, if you can't make it, I'm going to record those shows so that you can catch up on what you missed. So, reopen, close. Okay, all right. I'll put no thanks. Okay. Anyway, here's the instruction sheet, and it shows you the 3 different forms and some basic, how many blocks, how many this, how many that. All right. So now I will go ahead and close this out. All right. So here we are. Let me open this one. Okay. And I will bring this over just to kind of show you if you're unsure what method. Okay, here we are. This OBS system is wonderful. I went to Lisa Capin's channel the other night, and she is a whiz at this OBS stuff. She's amazing. This is called the sashing block. And of this one, you need 25. And here is the pattern for that. And in the middle is a solid color. Then you have A2, A3, and it's just sewing a triangle right sides together. Once you sew along this line, then you flip the fabric back and you'll know what I'll have the size for you to trim it. And so you do opposite sides. So after you do these A2 and A3, then you put on and sew A4, then A5. Same thing here. Then you sew A6 and A7 and A8 and A9. So this is paper piecing for the sashing block, of which you need 25. All right, you may be able to get 2 of these per piece of paper to print, to save on paper. So I will definitely show you that. Okay, now let's see what happens if, okay, here we go. All right, I was wondering how I could stop. Okay, let's look at a rotary cutter pattern and see, how does that work out? Hello. Let's see. Okay, let me grab this one, bring it over. Come on, here, I'm getting better. All right, what does it look like if you want rotary cutter instructions? So here they are. It gives you a look at the block, which is really right here. Ignore that coloring. And then it tells you, if you have a 3 1/8 strip, you want to have 4 patches, and this diagonal says you are going to cut those four 3 1/8 inch square fabrics in half to make triangles. Then here, same thing, except you're going to cut these squares in diagonal half both ways. Then here, these are just going to be 1 square. This is the square that'll go in the center. And so that is how you're going to make this block. This block finishes out. The finished size is 4 inches. The raw size is 4 1/2. So, okay. So that's what you get if you want to do the rotary cutting. The one thing I always like to warn you, that if you're dealing with triangles, you're going to be dealing with biased edges. That's why I'm a big fan of doing paper piecing anytime you have to mess with that. Now let me see. Let me find the diamond. Okay, this is the elongated diamond. So let me bring this over as soon as it gets up. But I worked on this all day the other day. It was we had a lot of stuff going on, but I managed to get this done. And, okay, there we go. Now let me make it bigger. This is the block that one of those rulers was going to help you out a lot. But I said before we had the rulers, they made this block. They made Storm at Sea, so how can we do it? Here is the paper piecing pattern. So you're going to cut a piece. A1 is a bigger piece of fabric. This block is 4 by 8 finished. And then see these funny shaped little things? Remember, this is going to be on the cross grain. This is going to be the length of grain. So you can't, it's best not to just lay it anywhere on the fabric. Try to keep some good sturdy grains. That means this will be the bias. So I am recommending you please starch your fabric. I don't think Joe Sew could make it tonight. I'm sorry. That's why I hated to change it. But I was just not quite in the mood to put a smile on my face. So I thought I've got to take some time and kind of calm my nerves down. Sometimes I wake up on the wrong side of the bed. But anyway, so this is the paper piece version of the elongated. And I'm trying to remember, you need a good number of those. I think more of those than anything else. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 times 5, 20, I think 24. 24 or 26, 26 I think of those. So, okay, so now I can close this out. Then what I want to show you is I did a couple colorways. And so I wanted to show you what those look like. And Mark said to me, wouldn't that be pretty if it were done in ocean colors, because it looks like roiling ocean waves. So I didn't take a lot of time, but I did some substituting of colors just to give you an idea. Now I recommend you go on Pinterest and you start looking up color combinations and get the idea. But anyway, there that is. Now, it doesn't really form, the way this one, it doesn't form the snail's trail because I was just messing with it short time. But it gives you an idea of what those colors would look like. Now, let me see. Yeah, that's the snail's trail. I was hoping I'd get a few more. Let me see. Yeah, that's the rulers. There is the picture I first saw, which I was going to tell you that I would use bright pattern distinctive fabrics, especially if white is your background. You see there? Now these are like batiks and ombres, but what I found, whoops, I don't know where that one came from. Let me go ahead and close this out. Let me try to find the one that I did. Now here is, let's see, where is the black? Black, I think this is supposed to be the black background. Yes, this is what I'm probably going to do. And you are welcome to do it too, but I thought, ooh, I think I'd like to use black as my background, then use very bright, distinct colors. These colors, these fabrics that I have in EQ8, just give an approximation to the bright colors that I want to use. But I thought, hi, Regal Rose. Oh, honey, thank you. That is so nice. Well, I love for us to have a good time, and I want you to be as successful as you can if you try this. Now, I was put on, where did I write it? I think I wrote it somewhere, that Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the class is I'm going to be here from 10 to 3, except for a little lunch break. On Tuesday, you were too. Oh, we think alike, Hope. On Tuesday, I've got to go back and check my kidney stones, so I probably won't start till 11:30 in the morning because I've got to go to the hospital first to get a CT scan and then go to the urologist while they give me the results. So I'll be a little late getting to that show. But I'm just thinking using very bold, bright colors, very saturated colors. And oh, I'm so happy you're here, and I'm tickled you'll be here with the class. And anyone who is going, we're going to, well, let me finish this so I can finish telling you. All right, now, all right, so I think that's pretty much everything, but I would look up colorways, get ideas. Let me see what this is right here. I'm bringing up my EQ8. Let's see if it'll, okay, and then let me drag this over just to kind of, if you don't have EQ8, well, I was going to try to drag it over, but it seems like it does not want me to. Nope, it won't let me. Maybe I can just bring this over. Yes. Okay, so here is the sketchbook. Here is the sketchbook in the EQ8. I hope you can see it. And I'm hoping it's on there, but I can save all kinds of colorways. But this program, I've had EQ8 for a long time, and I dearly, dearly love it. Because when you need to design a quilt or you want to try to get an idea of variations of that quilt, it would be really, really nice. All right, so good. We handled that. Now, since I'm here, I'm going to go to the Mosaic quilt, and this is my inspiration. As always, I make the pattern my own, and so I have, but when we go to talk about the mosaic, you'll see where I got some ideas and added them. But I just thought I would show you that because I'm about probably 2/3 to 3/4 done with my mosaic, and I've had so much fun. I can't wait to figure out what to do for my next mosaic. It is very addictive, though, I tell you. Oh, speaking of things, I wanted to let Mare know I went back for my 2-week weigh-in. I stayed the same. I was a little sad, but then I told myself, well, self, that means your body's accepting that weight loss. It's not trying to put it back on you. And so I was like, okay, because you know when you lose weight, you get these plateaus. Once your body resets, then you can go again. So I'm going to work on that. And, aw, Marcia, you are the sweetest thing. Y'all are so sweet. So, okay, we've talked about the class coming up. It's going to be on a free format called Jitsi. The greatest thing is, if you want to, you can click for your camera to be on, and you can be seen and heard. No typing. You get to just talk. And I'm going to try to go into Jitsi with this setup so I can do close-ups to show you a few things. So, and I didn't gain. That's true. And I've got to start that walking away. Mare, that was such good advice. And I'm just trying to get my act together. I have been telling you to work on, when I'm working on these mosaic quilts, there is, and I don't want to sit in my sewing room with the big iron. I love this. Well, it's going to take me forever to get it off. And Jan Nelson's talented husband made this holder. Nice heavy piece of oak, which makes it much safer. And see how he put that wire on that holds it? But this clover little iron works so well. So I just wanted to show you that's what I meant when I said if you're doing mosaics or like applique, anything where you have fiddly little edges, then it's really good. All right, so are you ready? Okay, oops, I better put the alfresco. Okay, so we're going to have Jitsi. It's a free service. You can come and go as you want. I'm a little bit scattered today. But for our class, July 21st through the 25th, you come and go as you want. If you, oh, your baby clover, yeah, it's a nice little iron. If you want, you don't have to work on this quilt. You can bring your own stuff. It's a chance for us to get together as a community and to have some fun together and come and go as you wish. There is no pressure. I believe that life as it is has enough pressure. Doctor's appointments. When you reach retirement age, your new job becomes going to the doctor. So I don't want to put any pressure on you. And so we're just going to have fun with this. If you want to make the alfresco, the Snail's Trail alfresco, just type on the Google machine and type that title in, and you should only have to pay $3.99. Want to make sure to give credit where credit is due to the designer. And okay, this is the pattern that I drew for the mosaic sunflowers. I drew this so it prints out on 4 pages and you fit them together, you tape them, and there you go. This is a free pattern. All the patterns I design or change or alter, they're all free to you. And anybody, I've had people write and say, hey, can I have that pattern? All right, now, then I took Golden Threads paper, which is a really nice translucent paper, and I redrew the pattern on that, just the main big thing. On the first pattern, there's a grid on it so that you can draw your grid marks. And I'll tell you about drawing grid marks. Make sure, because see what I did is I used 1/2 inch graph paper to draw the pattern. Be careful how you draw the grid marks on, because if they rub off, you'll kind of be lost. So, and so then I had the pattern pages, and I took some to color just to give me an idea of where I was going and how I was going to do it. But each page, you know, I could print out. Oh man, oh, it's freezer paper. Yeah, what I would do is take a plain sheet of paper, then I would iron freezer paper on the back of it, then run it through a printer to print out the front. That way, or yeah, to print that out. And no, wait a minute, let me start again. Boy, am I distracted today. I took and ironed the freezer paper on a piece of paper to give it the stiffness to go through the printer. I would have the the freezer paper the same size as an 8.5 by 11 or A4 sheet of paper. You print on the freezer paper side, because the sticky, the shiny part is ironed onto the regular paper. So then when you have that printed here, you can cut the pieces out of the flowers, cut them out, iron them on the fabric you have for the petals, and then you know exactly where they go. And you see on here that I numbered the petals, because without numbering them, I would have had no clue where they go. In this, I decided to do the background, the small square mosaic. I kind of fudged and enlarged it a little bit, because I realized if my grid were strictly 1/2 inch, then I would have to have a 3/8 inch little square, and that was getting a little too tiny. So I enlarged everything to about, the fabric I cut out was close to 5/8, and so the grid was slightly bigger, because I wanted to make sure I could see the background fabric through to act as the grout. Okay, so freezer paper was really helpful with that. And once you cut it out, you can use the sticky side of freezer paper, the shiny side, that once you iron it becomes sticky. You can use it 5 or 6 times, maybe more. So, okay, now, so here it is. And, oh, you know what? I'm farther than I even thought. Yeah, I'm about 3/4 done. So here is my mosaic quilt. And I am loving this baby. And I do want to tell you, some of these I had a little trouble getting them to stick. So I pulled out the tacky glue and I tacky glued them down, because I don't think it's going to be too hard for me to get through my sewing machine. Now I'm going to grab my tacky glue, and then I'm going to bring the close-up camera so that I can show you a little more about this amazing quilt. I've had such fun with this. So now let me go to my close-up camera. Here it is. And let me pull the light up close. All right. So, all right. Oops. Uh-oh. See, like right here, this popped up. Now I'm going to try, let me turn my iron on. I'm going to try to iron this back down. Now if I'm working at a big table space, I'll go ahead and use a full-size iron because it's a little hotter, so it'll actually stay on there a little better. Oh, I missed this part. All right. And sometimes, I'm going to tell you, sometimes after I've folded it up, I need to go over it and iron everything down again. Be careful not to iron too much, like this right here. Oh, I can feel it no longer has sticky on it. So I just grab my tacky glue, put some tacky glue on the back, and there we go. I like a tacky glue because it will hold faster. Now, but this also brings me to another point. Yeah, this one, if you have to iron it too many times, then sometimes the fusible will come off the top fabric and go into the base fabric. Well, once that happens, you want a pretty much equal amount of the fusible to be on the applique and the background. That's what gives it the hold. If you iron it too much and it moves through, oops, this didn't stick. Let me try. Let me see. Nope, there it is. Okay, this does have, I can see shiny on it. So all I have to do is put this down, and now hopefully the iron's hot enough that it will keep it in place. But try not to over iron on fusible, because if you do, it will pop up just like that. Okay, let me move this out of the way. All right, get my tacky glue right handy here. All right, what I'm going to do is just do a few of these pieces to show you how I do it. Now, with this quilt, I decided the background was truly going to be the mosaic, but I wanted the petals to be a full petal shape. I didn't want to have these in little pieces too, because I'll show you here with the leaves, when you try to do movement and have little pieces, it gets right tricky. And I'm trying to think what I'm going to do to make the leaves really stand out when I'm done. I don't know if I might take and do, like, trace the leaf with a little zigzag stitch on the edge, or take a marker and mark it, because it can look busy. Like here, you can kind of, it looks better on the camera than it does to me in person because I'm so close to it. But, and at times I had to go back in and just put a little strip of extra fabric where I had too much black. Oh, look at this one. Lost this one. So that's where this came from. Okay. Now, that was going to bring me to my next. No, this is not that piece, but it will be now. The next thing I was going to tell you is when you do use fusible, just remember that you need to stitch it down or cover it with tulle and sew over, quilt over the tulle so that you entrap the fabrics. And oops, I've lost two of these. Goodness gracious. I must not have sewn them correctly. Okay, you just decide which way you put this, that it works better. And you can come and put the iron over it. It helps the glue dry faster. Now this right here, I might get the same fabric and do that again, because I do like that fabric. I added this extra fabric once I found it, because I thought, ooh, that's really pretty. That gives a lot of movement and color. And that's going to go right there. It does not have fusible on the back, so I just open my glue bottle and put a nice thin coating of glue. And I try to do even thinner than that right there. But what I'm going to do, once everything is in place, then I'm going to use my sit-down sewing machine, my domestic. I'm going to have all, yeah, I guess all 3 layers because I do want it quilted. And then I'm just going to kind of come and sew diagonally through all. So I just make a whole bunch of like straight lines that go diagonally through all these blocks. That way things are held down. And because you can see that it's real easy to not quite have the ironing what it should be, and then when that happens, it'll let loose. Now here is how I manage to store my fabrics. And I was going to show you, I just saw a place. Okay, over here I looked and thought, oh, I don't like the way this piece looks. So what you can do, let's say there's a piece and you just don't like how it's sitting, maybe it's moved too much to one side. So I'm going to come in here, heat it up, which then allows it to release the fusible. Because if you just try to pull it off without heating it, the fabric will shred up. So now I'm going to make this piece a wee bit bigger. Put this new piece in. But I have been putting on audiobooks and sitting down to do this, and oh, it is fun. I don't know, it just gets my mind off of anything that worries me. So put this back in, make sure it's set better. I like that better. Now, I do have to warn you. Okay, I started out working on half of this quilt at a time. So, let me show you that. I was working on this half, and I told you I loved the orange border on some of those. So I did that, and then I worked up to here, and then I flipped it over, and I worked this part and came up the side. And then when I opened it up, these 2 orange rows were offset. One was narrower, the other was wider. So what I had to do was take the iron, loosen, because I knew by that time, yeah, let me go ahead and add this extra row right here. So I loosened the ones, they had been right here, loosened them with the iron, peeled them off, and put new ones 1 row over. Then I had to sit down with a ruler last night and remark my lines. And let me tell you, I love Taylor's chalk. Taylor's chalk, I tried this chalk pencil, I've tried everything. But this, along with a ruler, and I'll show you, let me get the side. But I just sat there with the thin edge of the ruler and just drew. And it was wonderful. And if you, especially you get a see-through ruler like this, then you can easily see where to mark your lines. So once again, the Taylor chalk, it saved the day. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to fill this in. This is a heart-shaped leaf. Whoops, I see another thing sticking up. Anytime you see it, just drop a little. This is where you probably don't want to use school glue because I just don't think it will hold it good enough. And I'll tell you, let me get this part done, then I'll tell you what's next with this project. Okay, this one I can tell has been ironed so much that it's just given up. That's the one problem if you use a big iron, because you're touching areas you've already ironed, and then if that fusible has moved to the base fabric, it will no longer stick. Alright, so now I need, let me show you. So these greens over here were the dark base greens that aren't the leaves. And here, I'm just, oh, here we go. This is a mixture of blues and greens, because that's what I was working on. And just wanted to, so I pulled out, sometimes I take the time to put them in their own little egg cup. Sometimes it's like, psh, forget that. So this is the top part, the heart-shaped part of this leaf. So I'm going to pick a color. I'm going to pick this. And let me see. Oh, this would be good too. Sometimes I try to think, no. I'm going to go ahead and use this one. Alright, so what I do is I kind of eyeball it. And you've got to leave a 1/16 of an inch line. Okay, and then this is going to come up to about here. Okay, so now I just have to cut the curve. Alright, but I've been listening to a really good Ellen Hildebrand, I think is, and I've been listening to that and really enjoying it. Okay, yep, now see, that fits and looks good. The top of the leaf is going to be lighter color because the sun's shining on it. Then I just take off the back of the fusible paper like this. Come on. I always tell myself I should be using, and you always make sure the shiny is on the back. Now this, nope, not all of this is stuck. So I'm going to put this back together because I want all of the fusible on it. I'll put it back together over here and make sure it lines up again. Give it a touch with the iron. Okay, like that. Sometimes when I was ironing these, especially if I iron the fabric onto the fusible with that little clover iron, then sometimes it wasn't always hot enough to really have the fusible stick. So let me see what it's going to be now. Pull it off gently. I got it all. It's shiny. See, the shininess is all over the back. That's how you know if you've got the fusible. So now I take this, place it down like that. You see it's right here. Then I'll take this tip of the iron and try to melt it in place. Alright, then here it needs a piece of blue. So I've got this. I like to use a scrap that maybe, needs to be cut just a little. And I will take this and I estimate. You usually can do a pretty good job of estimating. Alright, then I'm going to peel paper off. Come on. Okay, here we go. Peel the paper off. And now, okay, I'm going to need to cut this down some more because I want to make sure it leaves the edge around so that you've got some of the black showing through, which looks like either stained glass or, whoop, it's still too long. So let me check. Okay. Yeah, I did need to take more off. Alright. So now let's see how I did that one. That looks pretty darn good. And I bring it down like this. Okay. Then take the tip and put it right there. Alright. So this is how you do it. You just take your time. Now it's still warm, so that tilted a little bit when I ironed it. You can still kind of smooch it around carefully. Alright, so this is the blue here. So now I need a nice light green here. So I look. All right, I don't need the top part of this green square. And now that I've got that, I take and mimic this shape right here. Whoops, let me bring you up a little bit. Mimic this shape onto here. So it will come down, and then from this side, come down. All right. Now, let's see how this fits. It's pretty good, but I need to trim some off of this right-hand side. And see, this is just, I've been doing so much on this one that I can tell what I need to do and without having to be too perfect. And you know me, that's my style. If I have to measure everything and make it perfect, then I usually lose interest. So, now this is going to make lots of little scrap papers and stuff for you to clean up. Oh, and today I was sitting working on it so hard, and I sneezed, and all these little scraps went fluttering. So please don't sneeze on your little tiny mosaic pieces. So see, now I've got the part of the top of this. Let me get another blue. I try to vary the blues so it has a little sparkly effect. Some of these are not quite, let me see. That would fit good normally, so now all I have to do is this little design. There's a little line right there. So I come in here and go down. All right, let's see how this one fits. And it's usually pretty good, pretty easy to get your fingernail in there. And okay, actually that's pretty good. Let me just trim a little touch off of this end. Also, some of the pieces of fabric, when I tried cutting them, they can pull off because quilt fabrics kind of have a large weave. So sometimes if you try to cut just this tiny little strip, it might just fall off, and that's part of the game too. Okay, there we go. So now I need a green fabric to go here. I think I'll continue with the lighter pieces. No, maybe I'll try, let me see. I'll try a darker one. Okay, so I come in here. All right, so I cut this. It will go well, I hope. Whoops, needs to be ironed down again. When I start peeling it, I look to see if the fabric has that plastic shine to it, and if it does, then I know I'm ready to go. If not, just touch it to the iron again. And that's the tricky part, because when you're putting the fabric on the fusible, you want to make sure that you get it on well, but you don't want to over iron it and mess it up. But if it's on the fabric, it has a nice plastic shine. Okay, so now this one would go here. Aha, got a little bit, it's pretty good, but I need to take a little bit off this side, and instead of having to recut that curve, since it's too tall, I'm going to take a little bit off the bottom. And now let's see what we have. That is much better, much better. So now I'm going to press that. So these, all the spaces I've left have a lot of leaves in them. So that's why I wanted to wait. Now, this is going to be under this flower, so it's going to get darker. So let me find, yeah, that would work. Okay, I can tell I need to make it narrower. Yep. And then this one's going to curve the other way. Now let me see how that fits. I'll need to narrow it down a touch more. Okay, let's see. That looks pretty darn good. Okay, so peel off the paper, iron this into place. Miss Jo is here. Hi, sweetheart. Okay, so now let me place this piece in, but I really am getting a kick out of doing this. I don't have to sit at a sewing machine. Okay, let me move it down just a little. Okay. And I've been listening to Ellen Hildebrand books on YouTube, and so it's nice when I can catch a book on YouTube. Okay, I can tell right now this is going to need to be trimmed a little bit. Even though I drew a grid, it's not quite fully, it's not as rigid as you would think. Sometimes in putting things down, things got moved a little here or there. Let me just take off a little bit off this bottom. I mean, it is fabric after all. It's not little pieces of ceramics. So, okay. There we go. And then it's just a matter of finding, let me see, this would work. So all I have to do is cut it real narrow here. Let's see. Now let me see how this works. Almost. Let me cut a little bit more out. Oops, I'm probably not doing it well under the camera. Alright, let's see how this works. It is going to have to be small. Okay. That's always the funny thing, is it has to be smaller than you think. You see it with your eyes and you think, oh, I've got more space. But to be able to leave the grout look around it, you have to take off a little bit more. Now I am lowering the right hand edge of the top here, because to put it on the way I want, it was making it look like it was going downhill. So now I'll pin off. Sometimes when I cut a very small piece, I will take and peel the back off first, so that I don't have to then try to pull on it to get the paper off. This one, the paper wasn't stuck on good enough, so I had to do it again. But you got to be real careful with these little teeny wispy edges, because you can just pull them right off. The fabric just pulls apart if you're not careful. Alright. But I have loved this. Now, so what am I going to do when I finish this? Alright. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch down across all of this so that it won't come back up. Okay, so now I just need a little tiny piece here, just itty bitty. You won't believe how small the little piece is that goes there. Okay, here it is. Just a little tiny, because your eye is drawn to detail. This one, the glue is not on it. The sticky, I thought the lid was on there. I just put my mouth on the glue. Okay, now, so I just put a little blob of glue there, and then, well, it even needs to be thinner. So this is where having tweezers would be a smart thing, but I get impatient. I just want to work on it now. Okay, so here we go. Got this little piece there. All right, so that leaf, I don't like the flavor of that. Don't like the flavor of that glue. Now over here, there's a triangle on this side. This is the stem of the flower. This is all going to be leaf, but this little triangle is going to be sky. So what I'm going to do is cut out a piece I think will fit. And now let's see. Okay, I did pretty good with that. I need to make it a little narrower at the tip. Okay, so that's pretty good. Then now I need to cut a slanted side. Okay. I'm so glad Mark came down and helped me figure out the sound, the volume on here. So I felt bad because he's busy. Okay, let's see. Now that looks pretty good. That way it gives me that little bit of sky. Now see, that's not fully, it's not fully on the square. So I'll come in with the same color for the square piece, and let me see. Now, I like to use up some of the little leftovers if I can, but no, I don't think that's going to work. Let me see. But when I'm sitting working on this, I can just, I'm in a whole nother place. It's wonderful. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and use this one, I do believe. And I need to make it, actually I can put it right over that if I really wanted to, but let me try to cut it out a little bit better than that. Okay. Alright, let's see. It's almost there. Almost there. I've got to cut a little bit more of this out. Okay. And I just kind of take snips, put it back, take snips, put it back. Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. Okay. Peel off the paper, please. Oh, good. I can. Sometimes you can grab the glue to get it off. All right. So now I'm gonna try. Yeah, I'm gonna try to kind of cover. Whoops. I know one thing to do to help. Take off this snip, and I'm gonna try to cover that seam so it looks more like one piece. Okay. So now I'll iron that down. And then this is going to be blue. And so if you have any questions, oh, don't we love seam rippers? Oh, I hope I put July. Oh, I put June. I am so sorry. I sure did. Oh, no. I was wondering why it wasn't working. Bonnie, what are you going to do with me, girlfriend? And in fact, I haven't gone to the post office yet to mail Bonnie's package. Oh, Barbara. I need to get Barbara's address to send her the applique book, if she still wants that. So, I'm so sorry I put June. Now, I don't know what in the world it thought I was going to do about that one. But here is this, sticking this little piece right here. Okay, like this. Let's see, I don't know if I have it small enough, not quite. All right. Let me cut a little touch more. It's funny what your eye sees and the piece it has to be are very different. That's much better. So now, let me get some of this glue here. Okay, there we go. So now, hopefully you're seeing, you just go along and do piece by piece and keep your little papers out of the way. And just remember, fusible paper is slick. So if you ever have a big piece on the floor, it will make you slip down and fall. Be careful, be careful. And sometimes I even save my little tiny pieces because you can always use them in a narrow area. And then when I'm going to be done working on this part right now, so I just try to gather them up carefully, and I just put them in just one of these because I'm going to keep using those colors to finish the quilt. So I'll just gather them and put them in one of the little egg cups, knowing I'll pull those right back out to finish these last few areas. So I will then get some batting, and backing, and then I'm going to do this on my domestic machine and just stitch diagonal lines. Now, when it comes to the flowers, I'm not. You know, this might be a good place to use some black thread and stitch them down with that, make them pop. And that might be really, really good. So, okay. Trying to pick it up so I don't have it falling all over the floor, but my bottle of tacky glue blurped over here. Get that cleaned up. Okay, I'm gonna have to shake it off a little bit. Okay, now I will come back to you guys and show you. Come on. Okay, good. All right. All right, now I'll show you again. And see, I only have those areas where it's black. Now, somewhere down here, let me see. Where was it? Oh, over here. That's just really dark fabric. So that's all finished. And and see where I told you I wanted to have some little cloud swaths of a white, and it's not really that white, but I just wanted it to look like mosaic tile. So I just have those leaf areas with little bits of sky around them. Oh, let me show you too. I forgot to show you how I did the centers of the flowers. Let me come back to close-up camera. If you have any questions or anything, please, I will be right now I'm looking away from the screen, sadly. But, oh, let me bring the light a little closer. Okay, here we go. What I did to do the centers, I wanted them to look pretty full and pretty full. I took fabric that had the fusible on the back and I cut triangles out of it because I wanted it to be able to look spiky and like seeds, you know? And so I did 3 different colors of fabric. I did a real dark brown, then I did a medium to dark brown, then I did this red, and in here is all the little fuzzy edges of the selvage of the black. And then I came back and individually cut out white fabric to look like little circles, just because the inspiration that I used for this had these circles, and I thought, well, that's cool. So in this one, I did whatever the inspiration. This one had like a little bit of black and a dark red, then the lighter color, then a little bit of darker color around here. Then I had this fabric, let me show you. It was so cool, but on this fabric it had arcs of dots, so I just cut along the arcs and used those to look like it was circling the flower, and some more black fabric in the middle. So these are kind of thick, which is good because I wanted them to stand out. Now here's flower number 4, and this one had black edges around it. Then it had a dark brown. Then it had these funny little color circles, and so what I did is found a fabric that had circles on it and kind of cut the fabric with those circles in it. Then used some more of that curvy dots here, and then whoops, I just realized there's no black fabric in there. I need to get some, and see, if you use the fuzzy selvage, it looks really cool. Now this one was dark brown around the edge, then it had brighter colors, and then I cut squares of fabric here, and then it's got black fabric stacked up in the middle. So that's how I did those. I chose a neutral color for stems, so you'll see here's the stem on this flower, stem on this flower, and a little piece of stem on this. And I just cut it to angle it. Yeah, that's a little thick for that flower, but I wanted you to know that that was a stem. So I think now, let me come back to the main camera. And I think I've shown you what I needed to show you, so you would say, oh, that's how she did this. But then this quilt will be cut. I will have a 1/2 inch seam allowance just beyond the orange borders, and but I do love the orange borders. I think it really sets the quilt off. So I just have to finish the leaves, and if you notice, the leaves are all mottled and speckled, and that's why I did the dark black here. I mean dark green, no blacks down here, but just really dark greens, so that the mottled lighter leaves would stand out. And this is a leaf, that's a leaf, that's a leaf, and then we'll be done. So I really like it. Tell me what you think. Is there anything I thought about once I quilted? I thought about getting out my ink tints and kind of putting some striations in some of the leaves, maybe a little bit of coloring to make them a little bit more distinctive. But that might work if I outline stitch them. I've got to see how much I'm willing to do on this. It might be easier to do a little bit of a clear outline stitch around the edge, around this part, and use ink tints to individualize the petals a little more. But okay, I think I've covered everything, and I do tell you this egg carton idea to put the little dots in works really well. I will be saving those little squares because I do plan on doing more of the mosaic. So, okay. I'm trying to think. I have not had any time to work on the sparrow border, but I do definitely want to get back to that. I've had no time to work on my daughter's wedding ring quilt, 16 years late, but I'm going to get to all of that. And but I'm loving this mosaic. I can't tell you how good it has been for me. So now we're going to go to show and tell, because I want to see what you've been doing. And our Miss, I don't think I have to turn this off now that I have OBS. So that's right. That's pretty cool. All right, so now I'm going to go to the desktop And I'm going to bring up your pictures. Let me bring this over here. Whoops. Let me try that again. Give me just a moment. All right. Now let me go to... All right, show and tell. I cannot wait to finish the Mobius quilt that I took from Audrey Essere. That is a stunning quilt. And I wish I could have shown you some of the pictures where they did it in ombres or rainbows. I mean, just watching the color darken or lighting or darkening or lightening as you go was amazing. All right, I think I have a couple things to show you. Yes, you have seen this one. That's one of my colorways. Here's another colorway, which I think I'm going to use this one. Then, this is the paint done in my sunroom. It used to be a green that turned to olivey. So I'm loving this. These are actual grays, but they have a slight blue look. I'm so tickled with my new TV. Mark took down the old TV so my daughter could paint there. The old TV was so heavy. We said, let's look up and see how much a replacement TV would be. And when we saw it was just going to be $200, we said, I think that's important, because we didn't know how him and I were going to get the old TV back up. And it's amazing how much lighter they've gotten in the 16 years we've lived here. But my rubber tree plant needs to come back in there, but we'll get it back. So, and look at this mother-in-law's tongue. Do you think that it's tall enough? So, now, let's see. This is Kiwi's cage, and there she is sitting on her door. But this area was painted. Then, let me see. This is Grommy's favorite chair, and this is another wall with my plants. Mark said, do you think maybe you need to take and cut those dead ones out? I'm like, yes. All right, now, let me see. Yeah, okay, saw that. Oh, this is the other room that Becky painted and we redid. Got a much better trundle bed, daybed trundle bed set up for company. I ordered some fabric from Walmart, Waverly Fabric, for an excellent deal, but the wrong fabric came in and it's just too busy. But do you see what's over here in this bedroom? I'm so excited. So, and these are cobbled together pieces of furniture and everything. This room has got the little bits of leftover from everywhere. My birdie quilt is what was hanging in the corner of that bedroom. I'm so excited. It's fully done. And let me show you, the leaves have all been sewn down, the veins and the little cute little stems with the hand embroidery thread. So that is done. If you haven't done this one and you'd like to try it, just send me an email and I'll send you the pattern I drew up. Okay, now let's see what else. Let me put this down here. That was it. Okay, so that's what I've been busy. Oh, is Mary going? Mary, it's so good to see you. Oh yeah, please go ahead and get safe with this thunderstorm. These storms that have been coming through are something else, aren't they? So, okie dokie, so that's mine. Take good care, Miss Mary. Let me know how you're doing tomorrow. Then Debbie, she sent us some cool stuff. Things she's been working on. Look at this. There's Chloe. Chloe has grown up. Look at her. And I love this great blue heron quilt, a triptych style quilt. I love that. Good job. As soon as you're finished, send us more pictures. All right, let's see who is next. just have a couple people more. Miss Joni sent us pictures of her Tilda Kitschy doll, which I love. It is so cute. I love the curly hair she did on it. Just really, really cute. So I'm tickled when y'all try something on here. You don't have to. I know your lives are busy, but when I see your version, oh, I love it. Oh, don't worry, Miss Mary. You stay safe. That's the main thing. So now let's see who is next. Miss Mary finished her amazing birdie on a wire quilt. Isn't that the cutest? I love that the personality she gave her birds. I just love it. Miss Mary puts her own style on everything, and I think that is fantastic. Thank you, Miss Mary. Okay, now let's see who is next. Mare and her gorgeous plants from California. Just when you think that California might not have many flowers, she shows us. These are gorgeous, and I bet you the bees love them. Oh, I keep forgetting to get rid of that one. It's the last one just upside down. Silly me. Okay, and Marcia Hahn did these beautiful baskets. Love her baskets, and that's a piece of petrified wood inside. Isn't that cool? I just love that. You can tell Arizona and petrified wood. So isn't that neat? I love this. So thank you for showing me. I love the buttons she made to go on it. Then Melanie sent some really good pictures. This, her husband Dan made this. I love it. I love looking at men's ideas of quilts because they have their own aesthetic, and often they're bold and geometric, and that is awesome. I love it. Then her friend Brenda, you remember Brenda Sharp, who has a shop up in Michigan? Well, she came to stay a couple days with Melanie and Dan, and this is what she worked on. That is incredible. Brenda's very, very talented. Just beautiful. And then these are the embroidered pieces that Melanie made, and her embroidery is beautiful. Look at this. Isn't that amazing? Very, very talented. Now she's going to be taking off her hospital work for this month, and she's got a few other things going on. She wants to finish a few pieces. I don't blame her. Sometimes it's nice to take a breath and catch up. So now our last thing, we got so tickled at Miss Melton's photos from last week. She sent us a couple more things. So let me go through here. Miss Melton is from Turkey, and this is the Hagia Sophia Mosque that they just had their 5th anniversary of being returned to a religious building, which was really big for a lot of those people. And a lot of the Muslims, and this building was built in the 1400s. Can you imagine? So it's absolutely gorgeous. Now there'll be a few new pictures coming up, and I'll show these a little more slowly next week again because they are extraordinary. Here is a street scene, a shop along the street in that town. I love the national type costumes, the sense of pride. Very pretty. Look at these. Look at this amazing dishware ceramics. So bright and colorful. And look at this. Is that extraordinary or what? It looks like blown glass, but no, that's mosaic maybe, or crackle glass. That is gorgeous. But their use of ceramics and special metals are just gorgeous. Look at this. It looks like some kind of grab and go sandwich. Is just amazing. I see pistachios in it. Just beautiful. And then this, I love this puppet right here in this show. All kinds of leather work, bracelets, a puppet. It says, I think the puppet says not for sale. I think that's what that's supposed to mean. And I don't blame them. That's a special little puppet. Look at this jewelry. Isn't that beautiful? So their metal smithing is just incredible. Beautiful enameling. Then this is the outside of the Hagia Sophia Grand Mosque. Isn't that amazing? And if your camera will pick up on this, you could put your phone up and sink in and get more information about that. Just beautiful. And it looks like it's probably in Istanbul, which would make perfect sense. Okay, so there's that. And look at this building, and I think it says here, you know, don't mess up with flowers, because that's a pretty garden. Then, let's see, here's another inside the mosque again. And look how comfortable people are just being there. Isn't that nice? Oh, I love it. Okay. All right. I love these, and the lighting is so beautiful. Look at this rug. That looks very old. Very beautiful. Look at this one. Animals, camels, sheep. Beautiful. And you can tell that Melton loves color. Look at this. Look at this architecture. Isn't that amazing? And this is a wall full of broken fragments of beautiful pottery. Beautiful surrounding ceramics. Look at, there is a whirling dervish. And you know, the whirling dervishes whirl so that they can get themselves in as deep into prayer as possible. Okay, this was her quilt. Okay, here we go. Let's see. What he's singing is he's singing the call to prayer. Which he... Look at that. Isn't that amazing? And he's saying Allah is good, Allah is supreme, and calling everyone to prayer. Isn't that amazing? And look, it's right on the water. That is just beautiful. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I thought I would kind of move through it a little bit faster, but that is so awesome. And I think it's amazing that she got to film this. I'm wondering, is that an echo or is that the people singing it back to him? So I just thought you might find that really fascinating. Isn't that fascinating? Oh. And I tell you what, their culture is really good with domes. I'm so tickled she took these photos of the city and of this call to prayer. So there we are. Isn't that amazing? So we can sit in our homes and learn something and travel to the world that easily. So I thought that was pretty cool. I hope you appreciated that, because how amazing that she took the time to photograph that and to send it to us. So I can't thank her enough for sharing part of her world with us. Isn't that amazing? So it's fun to learn about other people and other cultures. And I find the more I learn, the more similarities I find, the more commonalities that I find. So that's wonderful. Well, I'm tired. It's been a long day. I'm very sorry that I had to cancel the show without notice earlier, but things are much better now. It just got overwhelming, and but otherwise everything is great. And I'm going to go up and relax tonight, have a little bit of dessert while I still try to keep losing this weight. But I thank you if you were able to come tonight and spend some time together. And thank you so much. Take good care of yourself and do something special just for you this week. I will see whoever wants to jitsi. Well, Wednesday, did I say? Yeah, Wednesday at 2 p.m. Wednesday, 2 p.m. We're going to be cutting fabric, but come and chat and talk with us. I'll have the shortcut on the site. If you want to come too, just send me an email at ourtime2quilt@gmail.com, and I will send you an invitation to that Jitsi talk. And then the next week, we'll start our class. I just can't wait. Thank you so much. Oh, hope you are a doll baby. And I will see you all either Wednesday or Wednesday and next Sunday. Take good care. Y'all are the very best. Now if I can get my little cursor back over here. My cursor's playing games with me. You can tell I'm getting tired now. I'm kind of... Take care.